All right, all right. Thank you very much, Jeff Van Dyke, for those wonderful, rousing tracks. James Vincent as well. Uh, Creators of those tracks. Wonderful stuff. Yes, yes, indeed. That's the Total War Medieval 2 soundtrack. For those of you who are wondering, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy New Year. We're here in 2020, and I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited. We're going to be getting some fun stuff going today. Yes, yes. Here we are. So we're going to be doing some King of the Hill action. We've got FPod loaded in. We've got a list full of people. We're going to switch over to that in just a moment here. Apologize, guys. My voice is a little bit hoarse. I'm going pretty hard last night. So we're going to try and get through this cast today without losing my voice completely. But that's just kind of how it goes. Yeah. Try and keep my voice nurtured and not go too ham today in terms of getting super loud and so on. But hey, that's just kind of how it goes, right? Yeah. So for this format, for those of you guys who have not joined me for King of the Hill format before, the way this works is the sitting king gets to pick and ban a faction. They can't pick the same faction twice, so like if the sitting king wins obviously several in a row, then they can't pick the same faction twice. And they also can't pick any factions that they have banned, right? So here, actually, I've done myself a little bit of a disservice for you guys on the stream, but I'm hoping somebody else can bring them. I've actually picked Wood Elves and banned Bretonia, so that means in this current session, unless I, lose and then come back potentially, I can't actually pick Bretonia again, right? So you kind of get some counterplay there, and then FPod also, my opponent here currently, gets to pick the map. So if we go ahead and switch over here, go ahead and drop that there. Whoops, there we go. And let's switch over here. Wait. Hang on. Almost gave something away there. Something I'm working on for another time, but we'll go with that. And there we go. Okay. So you can see I've got the nice scoreboard here, and it should be popping up. There we go. And yeah, so that's a little bit large, honestly. We might shrink that all down here if I can. I don't know if I can actually do all of that, but let's actually just shrink that down, and we can put it right there. And that's going to be the name of the sitting king, and there are their wins. So yeah, that means FPod gets to pick the map. He's going to go for Iron Sand Desert. We'll get this pick here, and then yeah, guess I better get a screen blocker up. Not that I think that FPod would screenshot, but I do like to just be safe. Rip Pegasus Knights. Yeah, well, I'm really hoping we got some other really good players coming in today, so I'm hoping that we get some Bretonia action from someone else. But I have been neglecting playing Wood Elves quite a bit lately. They're a good faction, and they're a faction that I don't necessarily hate. Out of all the Wood Elves, I think they're probably the ones I find least offensive. out of all the Elvish factions. I mean, High Elves are kind of cool too, because they have like good heavy cavalry. You can do some Elftonia things with them. But the Wood Elves, I mean, they kind of have their own cool stuff going on. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. Map has no trees. It does have a couple of spots of trees over here where I could potentially get some regeneration. But yes, you are generally correct. There's not a whole lot of cover here. So, what's up, Mole Spaghetti? Spam Glade Guard. Triple Tree Men. Oh yeah, Republic of Dave is probably one of the best locations in Fallout 3, to be honest. If not one of the best locations Bethesda's made. Like, it's just makes me sad thinking about their newer stuff. But let's not talk about that. It's 2020. I'm working on getting it like a full, whatever you would call it, like border thing set up where I can display challengers and so on. I just don't have it available today, but next time, Uncle Gant. Yes. For now, I'm still operating off of my MLG notepad here, so over on the side that you guys can't see. Anyway, probably better pick my army now. Let's go ahead and just figure out something that I can use here. Yep, that'll do. Get the drop rocks right there. Okay. And I'm actually going to come in here and load something. Cool, looks like FPOD is back and ready. So I'm going to just quickly examine a couple things here. Looks good, looks good. Let's do that. Here. Oh man. Such a weird position to be in. This particular setup, I would need to check that. Yeah, okay. That. That'll do. Okay, we can do that. It's not the best, actually, but yeah. This is just so strange. Strange build. Okay, we're just gonna do it, as they say. Because tried something like this the other day and it worked okay, but that was against a different faction, and so boys need some new stuff. You know, you say that, Caleb McKinney, I'm actually working on some videos today, like I was working on it before the stream, and I'm going to continue after the stream, about some of the stuff I want to see in the Greenskins update, and I'm hoping to have that up tomorrow, not Friday. Go ahead and hide that boy. Cool. And yes, we're going all out. I don't know how well this is actually going to work, but I think the double dryads is kind of the key here. I don't know. We'll see how it actually works, but just having these guys with their little melee attack buff, this guy right here, and I can kind of run them as like a captain out on one of these flanks, use their support abilities, damage clearing, and so on. So let's kind of see how that goes. Do that. You can be 3.
Archers ready. Dauntless Azray. Deepwood archers.
What do you guys here?
Dauntless Azray. Wild riders.
Sisters of Thorn.
For Our Lady.
Hey. Got Glorious Feeder in the house. Bromby. Oh yeah. Regenerating lords for the greenskins will be a big deal. I hope so. I mean, hopefully it is what we all think it will be. I mean, pretty hard to imagine that it won't be, but yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm super excited for 2020. Just 2020 in general. I mean, we've got a full year of Total War coming, and assuming Creative Assembly meets their goal, I think from the last post, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, you guys can go check, but I want to say that they were hoping to get Game 3 out in 2020, right? So, okay, so here we go. Got a little bit of a build here, so we can push up there. Okay. And let's get these guys going here. We can go there.
Fall. Ready your weapons.
Rise!
It's going to be a bit risky, but we can kind of do that and that.
The forest wills it.
Get going there.
Ever ready, with speed.
Get going there. You got to get going there. Okay, we got those guys down. Let's follow up over there.
Sound the horn!
Eager for battle.
Bowman ready!
Very well. Isha wills it.
That was kind of misplaced, but that's fine. Actually, you guys just waste those weapons teams. They don't have enough HP, so we can just destroy them real quick. You should be fighting there. Let's make sure he's fighting also. Whoops, that's not good. Heal the cav blob. Pull you guys back. You guys can keep just mopping up that flank over there. Oop, nope, we got rat ogres incoming. Let's kite away.
Swiftly.
Ryan's getting absolutely ground pounded. That's fine. We can queue up some more damage spells there in just a sec. Let's keep kiting back that way. Need to keep up the initiative here, so let's charge those rat ogres, I think. We got the more damage stuff here, and just finished off the boys, so we can go there.
Carnos is in me.
Okay, we'll push up there. Actually, finish off those rat ogres. You go there.
We never miss!
Doing fine over here.
Protectors of the forest!
Almost got another support buff active there. Balance of power is not looking great right now, but I actually am not super worried about it, to be honest. We can actually missile snipe Skrulk here pretty soon, I think, because he's kind of out of position. So yeah, just keep falling back there. We've got a heal here. We want that on the cav. They're all out of position. That's fine.
We are tireless.
Oh, no. Okay, here we go.
Sisters of
Okay, come over here.
Ever ready!
Swiftly.
Orion's chatting it up. Oh, he might get killed by the assassin, though. That's not good.
Speed. Swiftly. Falls will. With speed. Ready for the hunt.
Withdraw! Right! Flatten them!
for
Oh, man. Got caught up there. That's not good.
we understand.
Archers ready!
Oh, man. Why is this guy about to rout? That's... army losses. Dang. Yep. Oh, I didn't have enough in the tank. I don't know. I feel like the leadership was kind of weird there, because we still had Orion fighting. Like, I still had all this cav left. I don't know what's holding up the balance of power so much for him, other than the fact that Orion's dead, and I mean, I guess the mortars still had a bunch of ammo left. Like, I don't know. Help me out here, guys. I don't really get how the balance of power lost me that one so fast, but I felt like I was doing okay. I don't know, maybe I just got all my Deepwood scouts killed by something? I don't even know what killed them, though. Like, I still feel like I had enough to probably finish things off there. I don't know. What did I do? What did I do wrong, guys? Characters? Is that really it? Is that just... Like, and the thing is, though, look at both my dryads. They still have a ton of HP left. And the assassin's almost dead. Is that literally just all Skrulk? Is this, did I just get killed by balance of power only and, like, mass summons? I mean, I really don't understand what happened there, to be honest. I guess I didn't chase enough of those units off and kite. But, yeah, that's just kind of how it goes, right? My calves still, I don't know, though. I mean, I still feel like I had enough. Sisters of Thorn have tons of HP left. Like, I really have no idea what happened there. But I guess I lost, so I back out. Yeah, I guess my dryads got melted. I guess. I don't know. Even, like, I'm saying, yes, all of the things that you guys are saying happened, absolutely, but I really don't understand why I got army losses there in the end. Like, that seems really dumb. I definitely, like, if I had another 3 or 4 minutes, I could have made that game reasonable. Just because Orion's not going to die instantly, right? Like, I don't know. I really don't get that. I really don't get that. I mean, I still had all 3 of my characters. They weren't, like, dead, right? I don't know. I have no idea. Huh. So, yeah. That's really strange. I might have to, like, save that replay and send it to someone at CA that, you know, knows how the game code works, actually, and say, why did I get army losses here? Because this makes no sense to me as a player, like, why that would have happened. But, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. Skaven, I guess. I don't know if he just, like, did triple summons at the same time and got, like, a massive balance of power spike that forced my guys all into army losses. Like, I have no idea what happened. I've mostly only ever seen it with Beastmen, but yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, Skrulk was at full health. Like, I don't get that at all. Like, I just don't understand what was happening. You know what I ultimately should have done with that all Vanguard build is just kite. And just try and shoot the Skaven to death. Like, honestly, I don't know. The mortars, I think, are a bit of a problem in that matchup because they do a lot of damage to all of your troops, and none of your troops have like, you don't have much HP, right? Like, in terms of total HP on the field, Wood Elves are probably the lowest out of any army. Like, just in general, you can't bring as much HP points as any other army, right? So. Yeah, I don't know. I really have no idea. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know. Mate, what could you do in that situation? Like, honestly, I'm gonna have to sit down and just degenerate into a disgusting Wood Elf main, probably, and figure out how to just tear that apart piece by piece, like, meticulously. Durthu? Yeah, what's Durthu gonna do, though? Get gunned down by Jezzails? Like, I don't know. Just taking big single entities against Skaven is a terrible idea. Manticore summons, though, on the other hand, like, actually, if you went with a good rush army, like, not just stupid dryads, but an actual good rush army, the thing is, though, like, unless you have a map with some cover, you're always going to just get blown up by artillery on the advance. So, like, what do you do to counter that, right? And the only thing you can really do is, like, really disgusting, stupid things like double Waystalker, just sit back and shoot, you know, until all the artillery pieces are dead, or I don't know. It's just weird. Like, turning the Skaven into dwarves basically makes that matchup really hard. I don't know. I'm not a Wood Elf main, so I definitely have no idea. But, like, that matchup was always pretty even, in my opinion. Like, it could be tough for the Wood Elves sometimes, but I think mortars, honestly, have just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm, it's, you know what it is? You know what it is I don't Waywatcher spam. That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't Waywatcher spam. See, and if I just went with like 6 Waywatchers, then that probably wouldn't have happened, right? So I could have just picked a unit and said delete that, okay, and then delete that, and then okay, delete that. Yeah. The problem is I play too nice. I try and, you know, take builds that are fun and work on YouTube, but then, yep. You take that back, Hadris. Glade Riders are terrible for the cost. They're terrible for the cost. Their rate of fire is terrible. Their volume of fire is terrible. The only thing they have better than Pistoliers is range and a little bit better stats. Like, come on. Come on. Glade Riders are basically better Pistoliers. No. No. Just, that's a silly thing to say. I'm sorry. Might be biased, but... Yeah, or I could just do the classic, only Hawk Riders, like take 4 Hawk Riders, yeah, 2 Way Stalkers. I would actually probably take Durthu and hide him in a tree in the corner, so that he can't be seen until the very end of the battle, and then summon 2 Manticores with him, and then probably as many Way Watchers as I can get. And then, like, are we getting bad enough here? Like, I could degenerate that far, but I don't know. I don't actually like playing like that. What are my opinion on Wolf Rider Archers? Actually, I haven't used them in a long time. In Game 1, they were one of the best units in the game, in my opinion, but I'm actually dying. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go get some water, guys. I really, like, my voice is destroyed, so I'll be right back. Okay. And yeah, I guess that's why this game reminds me why I don't play Wood Elves, is because their roster is so limited. And let's be honest, it is extremely limited. It's probably one of the most limited rosters in the game. Yeah, they kind of, any faction that has a very limited roster, granted, they can be super cool and fun to play, but you are forced into very linear ways of playing in certain matchups just because otherwise you get abused. Like, it's just, I don't know. Bretonnia has similar problems in some matchups. Like, Vampire Counts have similar problems in some matchups. Like, Dwarves, obviously, same thing. The more well-balanced factions, just you can deal with stuff better, right? So you don't tend to get abused like that. And I wouldn't necessarily call that abused per se on FPod's part. I mean, he played that as he should have, and it's a decent army and everything. Like, he's not a bad person or anything, but yeah. Wood Elves. Lack of heavy cavalry, lack of any cheap units to chase other routing units off the field, lack of cheap units in general, lack of HP, lack of armor almost entirely. Their one monstrous infantry is by far the worst monstrous infantry in the game, and might even be the worst unit in the game right now. Treekin. What do you think? Are Treekin the worst unit in the game? Debate in the chat. Buff Treekin 2020. Can we please finally make Treekin useful at something besides just standing in the way, which they're not even good at? Yeah. Treekin. Definitely the worst. Okay. So currently, if I update the scoreboard here, we've got, oh gosh, where's all this stuff? Here we go, okay. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired from staying up super late last night. Oh, got one up, and it is currently FPod, which actually FPod went quite a ways in the ECL qualifier, so big ups to him. I did notice that over the weekend. Yeah. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Freaking. Right, yeah, I'm with Hadriz. Regular miners are actually 80 armor and AP damage zombies, basically. I mean, granted, they're what, 375 points, something like that. But why not, dude? Sure, knock yourself out. If I like miners for Empire, I would take them because you have melee attack buffs. You'd get great value from the armor piercing damage. Miners for Norska, same thing. Cheap armor, great. None of my stuff has armor, right? So like. Miners are a fantastic unit. It's about the 80 armor and the meaty health and the meaty leadership for the cost. In fact, they have Vanguard too. I mean, you are paying for the Vanguard. Don't forget about that. It's a chaff unit that has Vanguard, right? So like, you got to compare their stats to something like an Ungor herd, right? Like, yes, they have worse stats. That 80 armor though, and that leadership, and the fact they have proper AP weapon damage. The problem with them on the Dwarves roster is that the Dwarves don't have that many good attack buffs. Oh yeah, that goes in the book for sure, Thomas. Yeah, so I don't know. I would say Treekin are definitely worse than miners in every way. Oh yeah, this is where I should clarify. We're specifically talking about miners without blasting charges, the ones that you can buy without blasting charges. I think they're okay. I think they're decent. Like, you should, if you can, absolutely always buy the blasting charges for sure. That's kind of the point. But I mean, still, it's a Vanguard unit with 80 armor-piercing weapon strength, like good leadership. What? Come on, a good unit. Anyway, we've got skeleton spears here. For the Tomb Kings, this is going to be Pugnoban facing the Sitting King F-Pod, who I failed to properly attribute in the scoreboard here. So if I go... We can just do this here. Add you. And it is... Oh, there we go. Sorry about my Haggard. I should have had this more set up beforehand, but to be honest, did any of you expect anything else? I apologize if you did. Oh my goodness, it's trolling me now. Okay, we're just going to do that. That's fine. That's fine. And I'm going to leave it there. Let's see. Yeah, Treekin are 950. Yeah, Treekin are the worst. They are the worst unit in the game. I'm convinced. Somebody else is going to have to give me some serious evidence to convince me that there's something worse now than Treekin. And to be honest, having Treekin be good would help so many matchups. Like, that would help the Skaven matchup somewhat. Yeah, if they actually had, like, any offensive hitting power whatsoever, but they literally, like, have less offensive DPS capability than a unit of skeletons, which is kind of sad. But anyway, getting to these builds here, Pugnoban is coming in. He's got a nice build with, looks like, Eyes of the Desert, Sepulchral Stalkers here, another unit. We've got 2 Tomb Scorpions, etc., the Incharitable. We've got some Skeleton Spears, front line of Skeleton Warriors, Carnosaur, Feral Carnosaur, Scarvet. We've got Lord Mazdamundi on Slock, Solar Engine, I like that pick quite a bit, Chameleon Skinks, Cohort with Javs, and some Saurus Warriors, Legion of Chocolates up front. A relatively straightforward build from the Lizardmen, but yes. Yes, the sorry, the Ashanti Greatbow is obviously going to be a bit of an issue here, but Cetra comes in, gets netted. He is going to take quite a bit of that Skink Jab Fire, which is not the most cost-effective thing in the world, but that narrows incantation of protection. We'll be able to mitigate quite a bit of that damage. Mazdamundi rolling in heavy. He's got that nice Shield of the Old Ones up as these Saurus start to advance and grind in this line here. Ooh, looks like we're going to get a big, dangerous Vortex. I didn't catch where all 3 of those went, but I'm going to assume it did some damage to the Tomb Kings and a little bit to the Saurus, it looks like, as well. Mazdamundi doing okay. He hasn't taken much damage. Most of the damage has been so focused on the Scarvet, and he is taking a pounding, but can, of course, get healed a little bit there. Cetra the Imperishable has also taken some damage, and F-Pod's doing a great job kind of mirroring wherever Cetra goes with this Scarvet. That being said, he needs to shut down these missile units. Those Ashanti Greatbows especially at this point are going to be very, very dangerous. But you can see he is starting to kind of push through. The deployment was a bit tight here. A nice banishment is going to come through, catch some of these Skeleton Spears and so forth. So decent stuff there. I like the pressure from the solar engine as well. Mazdamundi now going to be the target as Pugnabon switches over to him. I do think this is a bit of a mistake just in terms of target prioritization here. You can see he has the one unit of Ushabti still focused on the Sora Scarvet, but with everything up, he's got Deadly Onslaught, Potion of Strength. Let's see, 800 weapon strength in total right now. Buffs him with a Harmonic Convergence just to make sure he gets all the value. And look at that! Oh man, that Scorpion gets deleted. That makes me so happy. Oh, F-Pod, you might have just wrecked me with Skaven, but you are now officially my favorite person. Because my hatred of Tomb Scorpions is well known, and that was so cool. Oh man, so exactly what I was saying about not focusing fire, right? He almost had this Foe Seeker, this Scarvet down with these missile units and just kind of slacked off, switched targets onto Mazdamundi instead, which I understand, but at the same time, when you have a target that low, you know, it's tempting to want to switch, but you need to try and focus your fire and take out individual targets. Now, obviously, was it a mistake to target him in the first place, or should he have been targeting Mazdamundi in the first place? It's definitely tough to say, but regardless, F-Pod's in a pretty good position here as he starts to kind of grind on this balance power. It is still very close, but the fact that these Ushabti Greatbow are now kind of tied up in this combat without being able to get loose. Likewise, the Sepulchral Stalkers have also taken significant damage. And Cetra's taking consistent pressure from that solar engine. The solar engine also must have soaked some shots from something at some point because it's lost quite a bit of its HP here. Has managed to rack up a Chevron as well, so a good boy, old Gary. With your sun laser, I love that thing so much. It's got to be one of my favorite units in the game. A really nice Ruination of Cities too. That was a pretty safe area to use it for the most part. Mostly only enemy troops there, so good stuff. The Skink Cohort used up their jabs, now fighting tooth and nail in melee. I'm not the biggest fan of the regular Sora Spears here, but I guess they'll do okay, and they do offer some upside versus the Constructs. The Feral Carnosaur enraged in the back line, that's totally fine with that Frenzy up. He's going to be going absolutely bananas back here, just tail whacking these Constructs, and Mazdamundi also getting in heavy. I've got a multicast actually upcoming. I don't know when I'm going to put that out. Probably next week on Monday, maybe. Featuring all of the Slans in action, so you guys can get excited about that. But yeah, F-Pod coming in heavy with the nice balanced Mazdamundi build. Pretty classic to what we've seen here. To be honest, I think the only DLC unit was the Legion of Chakwas, so rounding that thing out, you could basically take this build more or less if you don't have any of the Lizardmen DLCs, which is kind of cool. I do like to point that out on occasion because I know not everyone has access to those, but oh, Mazdamundi, dude, what did those skinks do to you, man? What did those skinks do to you? They didn't deserve this. Mazdamundi, why? What was this part of the plan that we didn't know about? Oh, that was really bad RNG. Terrible luck there, really, but he's probably fine. F-Pod's in a commanding lead there as Cetra's getting continuously blasted, and that Solar Engine definitely MVP there. Hasn't quite got second Chevron, but still Mazdamundi also holding up very well, and you can see how all these targets are low. You know, Scarvet's low, Mazdamundi's low, this Carnosaur's taking damage, this Stilodon here's low as well, so this is kind of what I'm talking about in terms of switching targets. I think, you know, Pugnabon definitely had the build he needed to win here. I just think that he was switching around a little bit too much, and yeah, I don't know. You know, it's tough to make those decisions in a bang-bang kind of game. I mean, keep in mind, this game was like barely 6 minutes almost, so yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. Cool. Yeah, well played to both like that. The Saurus wave is pretty hard for Tomb Kings to deal with. Actually, Saurus just in general are very strong units in most matchups, but against Tomb Kings, of course. Cool. Well, next up on the list, we've got list here. Okay, just checking up on chat as well. Balefire Corpse carts? No, come on, Falcon. Balefire Corpse carts are okay. I took a 6 Corpse cart build And I took one balefire, and it was okay. So that automatically means it's good, right? No, I'm just not really. I don't know. I think I don't know. But the thing about the balefire corpse cart is it's a corpse cart, right? And corpse carts by themselves are really good, in my opinion. Like, just really good. So it can't be bad just because it's a corpse cart, right? Happy New Year, guys. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I need to get the next opponent queued up here, so let's get it going here. Okay. I should really be having someone like help me manage this, but you know, just how it's going. Da, da, da. Okay. Good there. Oh, the grudging's real. I don't get the whole pole arms things. I mean, at least like give them a pole axe. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that was the best. That scorpion just getting absolutely deleted has to be my #1 moment already of 2020. Great way to start the year. Oh man, thank you, FPod. I like dwarfs. I like having them in the game. I just want more options for them. I want more mobility for the dwarfs, and what that means is more machines. Let's get mechanized dwarf units, right? I mean, the Empire can make steam tanks. Let's have a collab Empire Dwarf faction that has like motorized war wagons, just like a full-on motorized division with like war wagons, steam tanks, gyrocopters, gyro bombers, you know, the whole 9 yards with like mecha casters and like that would be so cool. That's basically Chaos Dwarfs, right? But I want that in like an order aspect as well. I don't know. Maybe they could come up with some wacky mercenary army in Game 3 that's like a motorized division. You know, you can actually play like that in Age of Sigmar, believe it or not. Okay, need to add some people here. Let's get this. Here. Here. Is okay. Oh, Falcon. Oh, yeah, sure. Also, and no magic. Don't forget, no magic. Yeah, magic. Oh, no, you did put it in there. But hey, you get magic resistance, right? No, but gyrocopters, I mean, that's the thing for me that's, like, cool and unique about the dwarves, is the gyrocopters. And I like the whole rune system, too. I wish that there was a little bit more to it in-game. Like, I wish... This is kind of just a game thing in general, but I wish that there was a banners system in-game. It was a little bit more robust so that we could actually, like, get runes and use them. So, Yeah, the dwarves in they have access to more runes in tabletop, and like you can like in campaign, for example, there are certain runes that act like banners, right? Like you can assign them to units and they give them different traits and abilities and stuff. And like the banners system is just something I wish we had in multiplayer in general, where you could buy banners and assign them to specific units. Like we have, for example, Banner of Eternal Flame, right? And then but you can only buy it for the warrior priest himself, right? Like you can't like buy it and then assign it to a unit of Reiksguard, for example, like you can in campaign. Um uh Yeah, I would love a proper banner system for multiplayer. Like for game 3, like ultimately I think Avatar Conquest is a little bit of a pipe dream, to be honest. Like we can dream. They have done something like that in the past for Shogun, and it would make perfect sense, but that's a little bit of a pipe dream. For me, if we at least got like a banner system or an army painter or just like a banner system at least would be nice. Some way to be able to, in the multiplayer UI, buy banners and assign them to various units. That'd just be so fantastic. Like, for all the factions, right? Because there are so many cool banners, and like a lot of people, I mean, there's the +4 leadership banner, +5, that's whatever. But a lot of the, especially the faction specific banners, and like Rapunzel de Lyonesse just unlocked, or just got a few new ones, right, in her campaign that she can unlock, right? So let's say in multiplayer, if you specifically pick Chevaliers, like you get access not only to Henry, but you also get a couple of unique banners for her faction, and that's also a way that they could differentiate the sub-factions just in general, right? Like for some of the ones that don't have unique units, you could say, okay, if you're playing under, let's say, what's a good example? If you're playing under the cohort of Sotek, the Tehenuan's faction, right? You get access to these couple specific banners to his sub-faction. Some system like that, I think, would be awesome, awesome, awesome. It could be a balancing nightmare, maybe, but most of the banners in the game aren't impactful enough that I think, I mean, some of them are really powerful, don't get me wrong, like the ones that give you, like, Unbreakable or, whatever, but I think they could make it balanced, especially in terms of the gold cost, because if you look at the abilities that are in the game right now, like, most of them have an associated gold cost, and especially, like, you look at Rapunzel's banners are a good example. They can only be assigned to specific units. Like, it says, for one of the banners, it's like for archers, right? One of the banners is for an infantry unit. And so, like, if you were to go through and for some of the older banners kind of update them, right? Give them some quality of life updates and balancing tweaks to be able to fit into this new system, they could make it work. And I don't think it would be that difficult. Yeah, in terms of balancing. And the RP possibilities, right? For me, Falcon, like, the way I would love to see an army painter is not necessarily a fully custom army painter, but something where you can pick from, like, let's say, maybe 20 or 30 different color schemes for each fact. Maybe that's too many. Maybe like 20 different color schemes for each faction that are based on, specific things from the lore. So whether that be, current factions in the game, it could even be like historical factions that used to exist, or like, like lost greenskins tribes, or, like lost holds for the dwarves or whatever. Or, just like to try and give you some extra variety, but something that way it doesn't go too far and it's not just all pink dwarves everywhere, which would be possible. But unpainted models? Oh, no, no. I refuse. Or yeah, like if you could give your army a color scheme based on one of the regiments of renown, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be super cool. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get a second The Greenskins already kind of have 2 regiments of renown of the same unit in the Warlords Boys and the 8 Peak Loonies. They're not technically, but... Oh, yep. Animated Hulks, War Wagons, Ark of Sotek. See, animated Hulks at least have armor-piercing weapon damage, and they have like 110 weapon damage. So if you give them an attack buff, like let's say Dance Macabre, then they will actually punch something in the face pretty hard, right? The same can't be said of Treemen. Treemen have 50 weapon strength that's non-armor-piercing mostly. It's like a tenth of a unit of Saurus. No, not quite. Like an eighth of a unit of Saurus, something like that. Yeah, more RORs for sure. For sure. I would say we might see some Savage RORs, because there are no Savage RORs. So I would say probably we'd see like maybe a Savage Biggin ROR. Or even like a regular Savage Orc Boar Boy ROR, almost like Defenders of the Fleur de Loire, if you will. Like for the Savages. But yeah, it could be interesting. Oh. I think my game crashed. Yep. Huzzah. This is 2020, guys. This is real life now. Yes. Let's see, I might have to end up rehosting. Let's see if I can just jump back in the lobby real quick. Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to go all out with the banner system, Caleb, you bring up a good point. You could make the banners Lord-specific even, so that you don't necessarily have to take the sub-faction. But okay, brainstorming here. We're in full brainstorming session now, because it's 2020. We're looking at the future, right? So, what if, with this banner system... Oh no, they're actually playing. I don't think they know. Okay, cool. They haven't actually started fighting yet, so they'll just rematch real quick or something. Oh man, anyway. I think Beastmen have much better unit variety actually, because they have hounds. That's one people underestimate having a light cavalry 400 to 500 point unit is so important for a roster. It is so important for a roster. Like, unless you're only fighting undead factions always, and even then, it's still nice to have them. Not having a unit that's 400 to 500 points, 90 speed is bad. It's bad. So for me, that puts the Wood Elves so far down in terms of roster variety. Almost as bad as Skaven, right? Skaven, Dwarves, Wood Elves. Who else? I think those are the only 3 that don't have a unit in that class, and it feels so just dumb. Um, I'm tempted. Hmm. Trying to get this figured out right here for these guys because it's, yeah, I guess the load times are kind of long and so on. So, one other thing too would be, can I please join games that are, yeah, game in progress. It would be so nice to be able to join games in progress. Oh yeah, Lizardmen. Yeah, you pointed out another one. Lizardmen also don't have a unit that's, I guess, I mean, Tomb Kings don't either necessarily technically. Carrion are, but like, I don't know. Skeleton Horsemen do the same thing. They're not quite as fast, but it's basically the same thing, right? And I guess with Lizardmen, if you really want to be cute, you can get one unit of Clever Girls, the 450 point Clever Girls, and just hide them somewhere and use them to chase routing units because I think they're fast enough, but that's so inefficient and they're not even good at it. So, yeah, I guess the Lizardmen would also be a part of that. Okay, so we're just going to join back in here. Yeah, my PC didn't like the map change, I guess. Just decided that it was too much. But currently, we do need to update the scoreboard here because FPOD is on top with the big 2. Got a 2-game streak going. Yeah, Feral Cold Ones. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. The Clever Girls. I mean, yeah, no chariots for Wood Elves. I would love chariots for Wood Elves, to be honest. That would be so cool. I would be down for that. Yes. Well, the thing about Bretonia is at least Bretonia gets mounted yeomen, which are actually kind of good. I had discounted them for quite a while, but they're actually a decent unit, to be honest. And um, yeah, Wood Elves, I would say I agree. They need like a melee Glade Guard cav, like that's like 650 maybe, or 550, like an Illyrian Reaver type. Because Reavers are 550, which is a little bit expensive for a unit that fulfills that role, but they're really cost effective in terms of their stats. Like they can punch upward really, really nicely in a lot of situations, especially in enough numbers. So I would say, yeah, if we could get like some Glade Reavers, maybe some like melee Glade Reavers or something like that, that would be super, super helpful. But anyway, let's get back to the field here. We've got Empire, Reigning King FPOD here taking a proud Empire against the Foul Dark Elves. We've got Malice Darkblade here leading the way. Sorceress, Lord of Shadows here, Bleak Swords, and Dread Spears, Helibroni. We've got Witch Elf, Sisters, Dark Shards, Bolt Fiends. Interesting. You don't see these guys hardly ever. Curious to see how they do here. They do have their nice little gradient shields that they made themselves in Photoshop. Beautiful. Oh yeah. You know he went to two years of community college just to learn that. Look at that face. Anyway, we've got the Cold One Chariots here, one Scourge Runner, the Regiment of Renown, and also the ROR Harpies. So a pretty interesting Dark Elf build for the Empire. Now, he didn't bring Volkmar, which is a little bit sad in my opinion. Volkmar is a hard counter to everything that Dark Elves can do, just about. And he does have Marcus. No, Huntsman General, actually. Ooh, we've got Gaston here looking for a fire build with a Bright Wizard. He's got Warrior Priest up front, Banner of Eternal Flame. I do like that, actually. I do like that quite a bit. He's got some Royal Altar of Griffites here, Knights of the Blazing Sun, obviously, for more fire damage. So, he's gone in a direction. This is certainly a direction you can go here. I mean, the fire damage certainly is the one you want to do, but he's got some Flagellants, too, along with the Sigmar Sun, so definitely some DPS on that front line. Sorry, a requisite unit of Pistoliers, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. I like Beastmen more. I think just Beastmen because they have like good monstrous infantry. They have like good light cav and good like hound stuff. Like I also am a little bit biased towards the Chaos factions versus Elves, especially. Like, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Elves, so take that with a grain of salt. That might be accounting for that difference there, but I actually like playing Beastmen quite a bit. I do think that they could use some more monster options to really make them like a powerhouse monster faction. But anyway, this is a fantastic engagement right here. I don't know what Grombrindal's really thinking, but he's basically going straight in. I don't know, the poison actually might be enough here to help these Hellebronii against these Flagellants, but with their juiced up stats, they're actually going to trade very well. And look at those Hellebronii. That's an expensive unit to just be getting wrecked by Flagellants like that. Granted, he does have a lot of supporting troops over on this side, doing good damage to those Pistoliers, which of course makes me a little bit sad, but a nice rush here from FPOD as he just punches through that front line. A good burning head. Grombrindal looks like he tries to pull back. It is going to come through and contact some of those Flagellants as well. But of course, they don't mind that burnt debuff one bit, while the Bleak Swords certainly do. And the damage spike, of course. Oh man, here come the Knights of the Blazing Sun as well, just straight following in. Malice is here. He's going to be going after Gaston, but it looks like he actually gets wrapped up by those Knights of the Blazing Sun. And with the Warrior Priest active, it doesn't look like, yeah, they didn't actually get that stat buff there, and it did just wear off anyway, so might be time to get back. But these Knights of the Blazing Sun can now push through and try and get up into the second line. It looks like we're going to be getting a nice Penumbral Pendulum there. Does good damage to those Knights of the Blazing Sun. Demon's Curse also active to debuff their melee defense. It looks like Malice is going after the Warrior Priest at this point. Sigmar's champion here on foot. Not really going to want to stand and fight, but it looks like the Royal Altar of Griffites are also mixed in here, of course, for that nice elite anti-large AP, meaning that Malice is... oh, he's popped Zarkan already. Ah, man, I think that's a little bit early. He still had enough HP left on Malice there that I would have definitely just let Malice tank this engagement for a while. No need to pop Zarkan so soon, because now FPOD can just disengage here, go run around, clean up the rest of these units across the field with his mobile units, and start to, you know, kind of bring this game home. That being said, these Knights of Blazing Sun are getting a little bit bogged down. While that initial rush was very successful, he was able to get some good engagements. Grombrindal's able to been able to come back. These Witch Elves here getting up on this flank, doing some good damage, and the Crows of Cain as well coming down. They'll be able to keep those units routed off for a good amount of time, and I'm not sure what happened to Gaston, if he just got eaten alive by Zarkan or what, but if FPOD can weather the storm of Zarkan's summon... Oh no, he's right here. He's completely healthy, just about. If he can weather the storm of Zarkan here, he should be able to keep that balanced power from going too far out of favor, but a nice burning head here going to come down, roast through quite a few of these troops here. These Bleak Swords still holding their leadership, though, and the Hellebronii, despite getting pounded by those Flagellants earlier on, are not... they're not routing. They're holding the line there, and this is bad. This is really, really bad. Actually, it looks like Grombrindal was about to lose it there, but man, maybe he's on another level for me, but that Malice Darkblade there, that Sarkhan summon, is able to at least keep himself alive momentarily, though, there with the Bloodstorm. And yeah, once he's gone, this will normalize somewhat, but this is a bad situation getting the Huntsman General caught up like this. There are still some Knights of the Blazing Sun who are mobile, can try and stay mobile and stay active here, but with the Scourge Runner Chariots both still being online, I think their range DPS is going to be enough to finish off those Knights of the Blazing Sun. So interesting build here. I don't necessarily see the Bolt Fiends used to great effect, but I don't know, actually. This is a good unit right here. Sigmar's Sons still have quite a bit of HP left. They can come in here. They're going to tie down the Bolt Fiends, do some good DPS to a nice high-value unit here. And the Scourge Runner Chariots does look like they managed to shatter those Knights of the Blazing Sun, and yep, there goes army losses. So tough draw for FPOD there. I liked his initial build, his initial rush quite a bit, but this is why I say Volkmar. You cut these Royal Altdorf Gryphites and just replace this Huntsman General with Volkmar, and this rush becomes that much more potent. You can come in and drop a lot more just fast AoE damage to bunker bust this entire infantry blob. You know, you've got that secondary area of effect attack buff, so you can kind of throw the Warrior Priest on one side, you throw Volkmar on the other side, and then just rain fire and light down on your opponent. But other than that, a decent build from FPOD there. Grombrindle weathered that initial rush very well. I still think that Malice Darkblade form was early use on that. It could have potentially cost him the game there, but he was able to just win on some other fronts and continue pushing on towards the victory there. So GG. Yeah, I think that Sarkhan summon was early for sure, but it ended up not mattering too much. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes you might think you use it too early, but if you get a couple of those good Soul Stealers, I didn't notice if he killed the Royal Altdorf Gryphites with them. That would have been cost effective, but I mean, I still don't know. I think maybe you just sit and tank them a little bit longer and try and just consolidate more. But anyway. Yeah, good stuff. We've got Hadris, you're going to be on deck. Flying Tacos up next. Let me go grab a drink because I'm actually not dying, but it sounds like I'm dying. So give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. So you guys are discussing legendary lords in the chat, which is fantastic. Generally agree. The thing about the characters, though, is like, yes, Kolek is very powerful, right? He's extremely powerful, but he's also expected. Same thing with Skrulk. Skrulk is very powerful, but he's expected. And he does have some counters, like he dies to Fireball, for example. Kind of sad, but it's just how it goes. Yeah, Kolek right now, with the recent changes they've made to weapon strength buffs, you can basically make him into more than a Dread Saurian. But it's expected, right? And he has counters, which is armor-piercing missiles, isolation, right? Attrition. You can definitely grind him down. And, yeah, I guess I should probably put a screen blocker up for these guys. Didn't even think about that. Yeah. But again, like, because people are going to bring the tools to deal with big monsters when they're fighting chaos, like, oftentimes your opponents have good tools of dealing with him. Or, like, for example, when I'm playing against chaos, like, I will have the tools to deal with big monsters because they can bring good big monsters, right? So, yeah, Ungrim can, because you know why, Kelgar? You know why no one cares? Is because as soon as he hits that, someone walks in the other direction and Ungrim feels bad about himself because he can't do anything about it. I think Von Clodger, to your point, characters on horses I think need a little bit of a rework. Like they've reworked infantry characters now to be actually really good, in my opinion. Like characters on foot for the most part are actually cost effective, and they do what they should, which is to support infantry fights well. And they're not going to go toe to toe for the most part. There are a few that can go toe to toe with monsters. For the most part, they're not going to, and they shouldn't be able to. But what they can do is support an infantry fight pretty well. They have a number of splash attacks, so like you stick... I've been doing this a lot, and you'll see this in tons of my videos. I'll stick like a Naked White King, no abilities, in a unit of Graveguard, and basically it makes them into like an elite infantry unit, right? Both kind of mid-tier in terms of cost, so it ends up coming out to about, wow, like 1,300 points or so. So it's basically like a unit of Chosen, more or less. And anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, characters on horseback, the same can't be said of them. Because of their mass issues, they have a hard time supporting cavalry engagements, which is what I like. If you have infantry lords to support, foot engagements, then the cav lords on horse-sized models should be supporting cav engagements, right? But they really can't because of the mass issues they run into. They can't pull through enemy heavy cavalry, so they end up getting stuck very easily. The stagger thing is a big issue as well, like constantly getting staggered left and right can turn into a pretty big issue. Also, I think they addressed that a little bit in the last patch, but I'm not sure. Like running like Raponce and some of the others, like it just kind of depends, I think, a lot on their mass and so on, but I don't know. For me, that's one of the biggest things would be to rework that. But if we come in here, I need to change this back over. I've actually got Grombrindle on top, and bring that down. And he's currently sitting at a 1-game streak. Yes, I agree, Falcon, in terms of lords, for sure. Alright, so let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got a lord here for Grombrindle, a cannon, currently MLG hidden in the tree line. We've got some Trollhammer Torps, some Longbeards, Ekron's Miners, interesting choice. The expensive Miners, a lot of people forget. I mean, yeah, they don't have that amazing stats for the cost, to be honest, but 3 volleys of blasting charges, and plus once that frenzy gets going, then their stats are actually kind of good. I actually like the Ekron's Miners more than a lot of other players, I would say. Let's see here. Looks like Longbeards with great weapons protecting the flanks, and he's got a single brimstone gun in the air. For flying tacos, flying Beastmen tacos, we've got Beastmen, Lore of Beasts on a chariot here, a Razorgore chariot, Gorbel, got some Bestigor herds, lots of harpies. Looks like Morgar the Shadowgave up front, Ungor Raiders. Interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Morgan Treeman. Durthu is still good. I like the Ancient Treeman right now quite a bit as well. I've been seeing a bit of him lately. I've been using him for a while, kind of off and on, and he's been pretty good in some niche situations for a while, but I think more and more people are starting to wake up to the Ancient Treeman as just kind of a cheap monster caster lord who also has Lore of Life. Like, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Oh yeah, Happy New Year, by the way, Arrow. Welcome. This is how we celebrate, right? Harpies flying in here. Hopefully going to be tying down those Iron Drakes. Looks like the Iron Drake's just kind of passively sitting at the moment. The Brimstone guns are also going to have to be careful not to get completely isolated by those Harpies. Could potentially be a little bit of a bad situation, but you can see here, this is a dangerous situation for the Brimstone guns to fire in on, because if they do get friendly fire at all on those gyros, they're going to just blast them out of the sky. But they do need to try and support here against these Harpies, because the Harpies are getting free real estate, more or less, against those gyros. And it doesn't look like there's any Ranger type units or, you know, like Thunders or anything like that. You can see Grombrindle scrambling his Grumbling Guard here, trying to get into a defensive position, but Flying Taco just kind of running around in circles with his Beastmen infantry, not really engaging there, which is honestly the right move. And meanwhile, the Chariots are able to push through here. Look at Gorbel coming in. We've got right on top of the unit, right? This is the sort of the win condition. Getting on top of these Trollhammer torpedoes and taking them out. Spawn summon used to push the other Trollhammer torpedo off so it can't get hits on these high-value targets. Very nicely done there. This cannon also being interrupted here, but of course, Dwarven infantry is resilient. They're going to be winning a number of these infantry engagements here. Bestigor, though, they do trade okay here. Longbeards, actually, because of the melee defense, with supporting fire like this, will actually do very well here. If we look, 48 melee defense is very strong for a unit in this price range. One of the reasons why I love Longbeards so much. So it really depends a lot on RNG, whether or not these Bestigor herd can really get the hits or not to rout these Longbeards in time. And keep in mind, that's really all the Longbeards need to do, is buy enough time. And that goes for most Dwarven infantry, which is why I'm not really the biggest fan of the great weapons. That being said, these Longbeards with great weapons holding the back line decently well here. They're able to potentially bail out these Trollhammer torpedoes, though this Manticore summon kind of just lurking up in the air here can go spy and try and, you know, make sure they stay routed. It is very important for Flying Taco that he keeps those guys off. But the Beastmen have a massive power spike going right now. It doesn't look like it's fully recoverable. These Longbeards with great weapons don't really have the melee attack over the long run to be able to kill a lot of these units. That being said, they will trade effectively against the Bestigor herd in an isolation, and there are 3 units right here that could potentially all collapse and get some good work done here. But let's not forget about the big boy here. There's a fully health, basically full health Gorbel here, and he is very, very angry about who knows what. I mean, it's chaos, so I'm sure it's basically everything. And a nice little Amber Spear comes in. Doesn't look like it did that much damage, but that was just reminding us that that Bray Shaman is still alive on his chariot as well. So the Beastmen characters, I think, honestly, are going to be enough to carry this in the late game. The Grumbling Guard of Grombrindle, try saying that 5 times fast. A very cinematic shot here as they make their stand on the high ground. Fire being poured in by those Ungor Raiders, not doing a ton of damage, but just those death by 1,000 cuts here, right? Bestigor herd also slogging it heavy uphill. We've got the Gorbel in here, the Chariots, Manticore dropping down from behind. Oh, that dwarf went for a ride. Then just got stepped on by Gorbel. Oh no, but he's fine. He's totally fine. That's what we love about dwarves, right? Oh man. You know, I say the Beastmen are pushing. This dwarf line is actually kind of still holding here, and if it wasn't for the Beastmen characters and the fact that, like, this Gorbel or this Razorgore chariot still has all 3 models online, like, these Grumbling Guard, they're honestly not doing badly here. They're definitely holding out okay. This is kind of an ideal position, like, backed up against these woods right here. Wouldn't be a little bit better for them if they were slightly behind the tree line, but they may eventually get pushed back there. Like so. Oh, looks like Grombrindal's going to admit defeat there, but yeah, that was a nice little last stand from those Dawi. Dawi would be OP with chariots. I don't know, Aerocrassic. I actually think that Dawi wouldn't be OP with chariots. You know why? You know why? Because Skaven have chariots, and Skaven are basically unarmored dwarves, right? You know what they don't have, though, is cavalry. Now, I think both Skaven and dwarves with, like, proper cavalry, even just, like, a couple units of, like, light cavalry at, like, 500, 600 points, would be OP. That would be OP, for sure. But I think dwarves with chariots would actually be fine. Like, if dwarves got, like, a flayer type unit, I think that'd be totally fine. Anyway, fun stuff, fun game, great build from Flying Taco, just meticulously picking the dwarves apart. Grombrindal made his stand there, but not enough slayers here, I think. And, I mean, kind of going a little bit all in on the missile units. I would have personally cut the cannon, and just, I mean, he ended up not really getting that much value from it. 1 to 2 troll hammers is pretty essential, I think, but I might go with a little bit more of a melee-centric build, to be honest, and just try and counter-rush. Looks like we got Hadras in already queued up on the next one, so as I update the scoreboard here, we're going to get the true Taco also up on a game. Yes. Yes. We'll put this back up here. We don't need an army blocker for these guys. These guys are honestly probably in chat together right now, but maybe not. Let's get caught up on chat from the match there. Yeah, Dawi are a painful faction to balance. I agree with that. Honestly, though, I think like we could get like a little train-themed unit that looks like maybe like a single entity train, like a steam tank, but only for melee, kind of, for the dwarves. That looks like a train. I don't know. I like trains, so that'd be cool. Forest destruction mechanic. That'd be cool. If the dwarves' flame cannon could literally burn down a forest. Yeah, I'd take that. Or it would make Lore of Fire just that much better if like all fire spells had a chance of lighting the forest on fire. I mean, Lore of Fire is already fantastic, so. Looks like we're going to be doing counts for Flying Taco, and he banned Dark Elves, so let's see what Hadras goes here. We could maybe see Hadras take... Oh, my game crashed again because they changed the map. Oh, I forgot about this bug. I don't know. This is some kind of bug here. Okay. Getting back into it. ROR Dryads. I would love some ROR Dryads. I actually like that. I like that idea. You know what would be great? Let's talk about this. A fast attack forest spirit unit. So what if it was like branch hounds? Yeah, you hearing me out? Like branch hounds, because you know that there's some fast forest, or even just like, I don't know, like a pack of foxes or something. I don't know, some fast forest creatures that can run fast and are cheap that you can throw in like a unit of hounds. Like that's all I want for Wood Elves is a fast, cheap unit. Like some branch hounds, or like some feisty foxes, or oh, I don't know, tree doggos. Tree doggos. Timber wolves. Get out. Get out. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually really good. Okay. Swipe or no swiping. Exactly. Aerocrastics got it. Aerocrastics got it. Baby squirrels, yes, anything like that. For someone from CA, please. Please. Can we please get a fast forest spirit unit for Dark Elves? Something like 300 points, 375 points would be amazing. 375 to 475, somewhere in that price range. You don't want it too expensive because the Wood Elves already have problems with that, like all elves do. Something in that price range, man. Even just like wisps, like a unit of wisps. You know? Herd of killer rabbits. There we go. We got tons of great ideas in here. Ethereal spirits. There's an interesting idea, Kenny. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Yeah. Okay. Because the Wood Elves totally could have some ethereal units, right? And what if they even counted as OP undead, so they had, you know, crumbling and everything? That could be interesting. I don't know if that's even a lore thing, but I'll have to ask my lore experts. Phone lore master of Sotek. Yep. Melee Glade Riders, yeah, for like 650. Like, basically Wood Elf Nehekara Horsemen. That'd be great. That would be fantastic. Yeah. Like, just looking at holes in the Wood Elves roster, that for me is the biggest one, is the lack of cheaper light cav. Like, as a fast faction, that's what you need. Like, that's what makes Beastmen and Norska good at going in that direction, right? And even Warriors of Chaos to a degree, because Hounds are just so good at that. You can go with, like, Hounds and Marauder Horsemen and just go super wide and fast. Wood Elves you can't go wide and fast. Like, you can't go wide really at all, without just going, like, Mass Glade Guard, which just feels weird and is okay sometimes, but feral units could also be nice. I mean, they already have most of the feral units that they should have access to. I mean, I don't know that we necessarily want them to have like a feral manticore one-to-one competing with the Grey Eagle, you know? Grey Eagles actually are kind of okay. It could maybe be a little bit cheaper, to be honest, but... Increase Eternal Guard's mass. I agree 100% with that one. That's a pretty easy one. Eternal Guard need way more mass. Also, I really want them to implement a countercharge ability for certain units. Like, if you look at Azrai Spears, like... that even if they're braced, they still take a ton of shock damage from charges because of the loose formation, right? And so, like, what they need is an ability to countercharge. So, like, if a unit charges directly into you and you issue a charge order into them, that you'll actually, like, negate their charge bonus, if not use it against them, like, reflect it almost. Like, if you're actively charging the other unit. I would love to see a mechanic like that for War Dancers with Azrai Spears, or just, like countercharge versus large, or it, you know, even for like the regular War Dancers with swords, you could even do like a countercharge versus infantry, right? That could be cool. Or like, you know, and then you apply that to lords. You say like a big, you know, powerhouse foot character, somebody like Gorok or you know, Grombrindle or Grimgor. They could also have that counter charge ability, so that if they, you know, charge Kolek while he's charging them, then they can get a big swing in. They could get like immunity to knockdown on that specific hit, so that they don't just get blasted back into space, right? I don't know. I'm just super brainstormy today on new stuff. But I guess that's kind of the nature of the new year, right? A new year, looking forward to new mechanics, thinking about ways that we can improve this game, because I know, and you guys all know, as soon as Creative Assembly comes back from their winter break, they're going to be going full ham hog on content for us for the new year. And yeah, they seem to be very open and willing to listen to community feedback, especially as they started to move into some of these later stages and really kind of we can help them craft the experience that we want to see, to be honest. And if you look historically, I mean, Creative Assembly's been pretty good about listening to player feedback over the entirety of the trilogy, to be honest, and hopefully they can continue to do so. So anyway, here we are. The Empire, Volkmar the Grim, going to be leading the way for Hadris. He's got Jade Wizard here, looks like Silver Bullets, and Sterling's Revenge, some Spearmen, and Halberdiers. Not the biggest fan of Halberdiers, but that's okay. Altdorf Griffites, Knights of the Blazing Sun here. Relatively straightforward build. For Flying Taco, he's got the Red Duke, he's got Bats, Skeleton Spears, Black Knights, regular Black Knights actually, I don't know, they gave him a pretty significant buff in the last patch by giving him anti-infantry here. It's not that much, but plus 8 bonus versus infantry puts them right at, 32 melee attack against infantry, you know, just in a sustained fight, plus 26 charge bonus makes them exceptionally cost effective in a number of scenarios. Graveguard with great weapons here, nice option. Looks like he's gone with double White King Squad elite infantry. I like this quite a bit. And then, yeah, the Red Duke. Nice to see the Red Duke, actually. Hey! Red Duke 2020. How about that? It's not the Blood Dragon. Dude, where did you come from? Where have you been? Cotton Eye Joe. Anyway. Yeah. The Red Duke, how about that? It's not the Blood Dragon. It's not the Blood Dragon. This makes this a meme build, basically. Even though the Red Duke is still one of the best characters in the game, which is just kind of terrible and sad when you stop and think about it. But anyway, nice hit and run charge from Volkmar there. Tried to bait down the Red Duke, but Red Duke is a crafty old fellow. Not going to be falling for it. A nice banishment. Looks like it was a little bit late there on getting on those Graveguard with great weapons, but it will kind of roll back around, hopefully, and do some additional damage here. And yeah, that Vargul's going to have to be careful. Likewise, these Graveguard kind of just rushed into this pocket a little bit unsupported, and they could get rained on here by Volkmar. He got a nice charge up and through there, going to charge back around, and that banishment did quite a bit of damage as well. So a good start for Hadris, but here comes the Red Duke, going to be thrown in here as the Royal Altdorf Griffites get a nice little counter charge. Looks like an overcast Dance Macabre, I would imagine. There was something there, it looks like, that miscast for the Red Duke. It may not have even been an overcast. It looks like Volkmar did bring his little area of effect miscast chance item here, so that looks nice. These two White Kings, though, pushing through, and there's the Dance Macabre upgraded, giving a massive damage spike in terms of melee attack. Even the zombies here hitting at 29 melee attack, and the missile units here, this is a mistake. From my perspective, I almost never bring infantry skirmish units against the vampire counts because they just could get on top of them and delete them so fast. You can see the Silver Bullets were more or less a complete waste here. But that being said, the Sterling's Revenge actually, because of their stats, can hold out okay here. So something like this, kind of that hybrid style of unit, that hybrid missile melee. Oh, but a really nice breath attack there from Flying Taco just comes in and wrecks that unit in particular, which Flying Taco understanding that is, you know, the one missile unit here that's a significant threat to him. Knights of the Blazing Sun, that's really tough. They took a regrowth, but actually got routed off there despite everything. So Volkmar's holding out okay in this front line, taking a big charge there from the Red Duke, but he has been just kind of sustaining in this combat. The Crypt Horrors, other units they're fighting. They're fighting tooth and nail. It's hard to really tell who's winning at this point. It does look like the terror is going to be a little bit of an issue for some of these Empire State troops here. That Scaverscrath did a little bit of damage, but not a whole lot, and this charge isn't very efficient, kind of charging in. Might have counted as a flank attack, I'm not sure, but those spearmen, let's see how long they're able to hold out there on that flank. It's an interesting build as well, just to continue spamming that cheap Awakening in the Wood. He doesn't have the lore attribute there, so I'm not sure exactly if he's just trying to use it purely for the slow or what, but Knights of the Blazing Sun getting pulled out of position there by some Black Knights in the Vargulf. The Empire is holding for the time being, but I'm a little bit worried about their sustaining power. A lot of these zombies and other units over on this side are gone, and the state troops still have some HP in some situations. And how about these Sterling's Revenge, despite taking that massive breath attack earlier, are still holding. These Black Knights coming up and around the flank here, though, is not the best, but a nice banishment, very well placed by Volkmar, is going to come in and do some good damage, not only to the Black Knights here, but also to some of these supporting units. I mean, obviously, just zombies isn't necessarily value train, but you do need to get rid of those chaff units in order to kind of get at the more expensive things. But Flying Taco starting to grind down some of the more expensive targets here. Doesn't look like the Royal Altar Griffites. I don't necessarily see their banner still here anywhere. Oh, there they are, barely still hanging on with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar there, juicing up their attack. But there's a lot of targets for them still to take down. These Crypt Horrors actually ended up being okay here. The Vargulf as well, of course, with its own self-healing, and the Red Duke has been basically untouched. So unfortunately, the Royal Altar Griffites had a lot of targets to try and take down here. You know, they were going to be relying on those missiles as well for some of that anti-large damage, but I just don't think it was quite enough at the end of the day. It's an interesting one. You know, had Hadris gone for more of a... I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup right now. I'd have to kind of theorycraft this one a little bit and see. There are some different things you can do, but just for myself, I mean, other than the silver bullets, I think this build is pretty solid all around. Not the biggest fan of halberdiers. I think maybe you're better off to go with some different units. I don't know, just Graveguard are a little bit weird here in that specific situation, but yeah. Hey, welcome. Going in late. Yeah, in Tabletop, there were armor-piercing riders. Interesting, so there were actually melee blade riders in Tabletop, is what you're saying? I'll have to double-check this information, but... Feral Deers, I would take that also. Yes. Yes. Happy New Year, Pap. Thanks for joining. Tough roll there for Hadris, but I like to pick a Volkmar here. The 4 halberdiers I think is a little bit too much. I would have taken maybe 2, cut these other 2, cut the silver bullets, and go a little bit wider. Like take a bunch of pistoliers to try and force the vampire counts into weird positions. Because, I mean, this build, you're just playing a little bit passively for my taste. And granted, I like to try and play with the initiative as much as I can. But with this build, it just seems like you're a little bit reactionary. But, I don't know. Yeah, see, for me, 625 even for the halberdiers. Like, I would cut 2 of those halberdiers for sure. I would cut the silver bullets, absolutely. I'd probably cut Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood and just take Regrowth on him. I don't know. I'll have to kind of theorycraft some lists around. I might even just take another Lore of Magic entirely, like Lore of Fire. But it's hard to say. Empire, you can do a lot of different things, so... Good on Taco, though. He goes up with another one, so him and FPod currently both have 2-game streak. And let me look at my list here. Who's up next? Uncle Gant, if you're still around, let's see. Get him a message there. Yeah, fair enough, Hadris, fair enough. Yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one, a bit of a strange one. I almost wonder, too, if you wouldn't have gone even great swords rather than halberdiers and just, you know, to cut all the missiles and just go for a full offensive focus with like a death blob with great swords and Volkmar. I don't know, maybe that could work a little bit better for like a kind of low micro Empire build, but counter-rushing Empire into Vampire counts feels a little bit bad. I mean, it feels kind of like counter-rushing into Chaos a little bit, but worse. Okay. Okay, I see. XMT Vampire Cav Rush. I am a big fan of the Bone Tonia, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, yeah. That's the counter, right? Razzle Dazzle is somebody who's really good at that counter, at that control type of play, because you can. There's a dichotomy of builds and different directions you can go, and like different build styles match up differently against each other. Like somebody who's playing more of a control type of build, where you have like a reasonably well balanced army, you have the tools to deal with both kite and rush, but you're probably playing from an artillery piece, one or two artillery pieces, or long-range skirmish units, whatever they may be. You have, some slows, some pins, stuff like that. Like, Skaven tend to play a lot in that direction. Obviously Empire can. What else? Dwarves, obviously, that's primarily how they play, is kind of that passive style. That passive balanced style, right? And then, you have your true rush. You have more of like a kite rush, which sounds a little bit weird, but it's like the Wood Elves or other factions where you start close enough to start shooting your opponent right away, but you're playing with the mobility and with the map control as well, and kiting your opponent that way. That's probably one of the hardest ways to play, in my opinion. It can be a little bit boring to watch. That's also my own opinion, 100%. Some other people really enjoy that, and it is technically very advanced skill level play. Exceptionally frustrating to play against. So you have like this kind of almost rock, paper, scissors where, at least in my view, like the rush players kind of get countered by the kite kind of gets countered by the control, and the control kind of gets countered by the rush to a degree. And obviously there's a million variables within that little triangle of playstyles, but that's kind of how I see the rock, paper, scissors of build metas, at least. Yeah. And the thing is, like, and that's why factions that can do like all three of those are the most dangerous, in my opinion, in tournament play, like Empire or, High Elves. They have a hard time doing some of those different things, but like Empire, you can rush with mass cav rushes. Like, you can kite, kind of. It's a bit weird, but you kind of can with like a lot of cav and like obviously skirmish cav, and like, you've got your heavy cav running hit and runs and stuff, that very mobile style of play. You can obviously play the control with nets and, traditional, skirmish units and everything, artillery and all that. Yeah, it's interesting. And it's interesting to see the players who are good in a certain style. If I had to say, for up-and-coming players, I think rush is often the preferred style, and this is something I was talking about with some people the other day, is like, rush, depending on how you play, like, you are forcing your opponent, like, typically you're playing with the initiative, you're choosing the engagements, right? And if you're pressuring your opponent on all fronts, they're likely to make more mistakes than you will in a rush. The thing is, though, if you screw up, and if the other player is, stays calm, stays collected, and has a good game plan about how to control your rush, then you can run into a situation where you just get caught out, and it doesn't, you don't break your opponent, you don't get the disruption you need. So it's interesting. Rush is in this game, in the current meta, I want to say is probably the best style of play, but I don't know that there's really a best style of play, to be honest. But for me, at least, it seems like rush is, I'm not going to say easier to play, but it's like you can kind of force your opponent to make more mistakes that way, I think. I don't know. It's interesting, kind of the way that these things work. The way that I've looked at it is like if it's two very equally skilled players playing two factions that are well balanced towards each other, you know, it ultimately oftentimes it's going to come down to who makes less mistakes. And so if you're playing like a rush versus a control and you're very aggressive and you know, you hit all your beats where you need to, it can be very hard for them to deal with, right? Because they're having to react and make decisions very quickly, whereas you already kind of have your decisions not necessarily pre-made. You know the game plan of what you want to do, right? So, yeah, rush is the most straightforward approach. That's simply put, very elegant and true. Yes. But also, you have to be careful, because if you only play rush all the time, then you can end up developing, like if you only play control or kite all the time, then you can end up developing some bad habits and you have a hard time switching between styles. It's important that you know how to do all of them, or at least how to play against all of them. Yeah, you do need to know what you're doing to play defensively, for sure. And a lot of people, especially newer players, play defensively while making some mistakes. And this is even something like I have a hard time playing defensively with certain factions, especially. Obviously, some factions kind of skew more into that direction, but... And artillery, I think I might be making an artillery guide soon, honestly, because, like, artillery is one of those things, like, you either take 1 or you take 4, you know? You take, like, 1 or 3 to 4. Like, it's almost always a bad idea, I think, to take 2, weirdly enough. Like, you either need a critical mass, and you just need 1 for tactical purposes only, basically. Yeah, playing with initiative is, you definitely add an advantage, but at the same time, if your opponent's playing with the initiative, you can kind of, I don't know, to try and get it back, you kind of have to trick them into doing things, or try and make a mistake somewhere, or overextend, or you know, if you just have the proper build and setup, just, you know, weather the storm, so to speak, try and just outlast. But a lot of people make the mistake, and myself included, of playing too passively. I don't necessarily say that reacting is suboptimal, and especially, like, if you're playing dwarves, you're gonna have a hard time not playing reactively. Like, really, one of the only ways that you can play with initiative is to go heavy with the Air Force, and even then, if your opponent has, like, flying monster or any kind of flying melee units, you're going to be at a potential disadvantage because they may have initiative against you, you know, just through mobility. And at that point is, again, where you need to try and bait them into a bad situation. You know, you put your gyrocopters in an appetizing position for those harpies, but then you pull them back, maybe have some rangers in a stock position that can then open fire and just clear out the harpies real quick, right? And this is what I'm saying, is like, you got to take that initiative back. But in order to do that, you still need to sort of play proactively. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling at this point, but hopefully it makes sense. That's true, Razzle Dazzle, that is true, but likewise it also makes them harder for you to defend if you have your own resources to allocate. So that's a lot more thinking about, like, what faction am I playing against, right? Like, against Dwarfs or Coast, probably want to always, or even Skaven, probably want to always spread out your artillery, because they don't have cav, for the most part, or fast attack units that can really threaten you when you're spread out like that. Coast can a little bit with the direwolves, you have to be careful there, but like Dwarfs and Skaven, it's pretty safe, and even, you know, a good idea to spread your artillery out, like you said. Against some other factions, it can be good. Sometimes it can be risky, obviously, if your opponent especially is going into very high mobility type builds, then you can kind of just get overwhelmed and end up not getting value. But even still, like, if one of your artillery pieces is getting wrapped while the other ones are still generating value, you can end up winning out just through a critical mass, right? And certainly there is something to be said for that. But for me, like, the artillery builds that end up being the most effective usually have only one artillery piece, and it's used for a very specific, like, tactical purpose. Like, okay, I'm going to kill this unit with it. You know. Hey, Dutch Skink, welcome. Just been talking about a bunch of different stuff, to be honest. I don't even know. We've been all over the place today, but here we are. Builds here. Uncle Gant taking the Warriors of Chaos. We've got 2 Exalted Heroes. Sorcerer Lore of Shadows on a horseback. It's just an interesting build, and of course, bones flying down from the sky. Only hitting Marauders, but still. Chaos Warriors with Halberds. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but we'll talk more about why later. Chaos Spawn here. We've got Mirror Guard, more Halberds, and more Spawn. Poison Warhounds, Chaos Chariots. So, Halberds. I've made videos about Halberds before, but most Halberds are bad. Like, I'm just going to come out and say it. Most Halberds are bad. Zombie Halberds are good because they're cheap. These guys are okay. Their biggest issue is they have a really, really slow attack rate. They have one of the slowest attack rates, I think, in the game, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the slowest attack animations as well, which means they do actually have a hard time getting any kind of meaningful damage out against monsters because, of course, monsters stagger infantry and send them flying all over the place, so if you have a long attack animation, you're much less likely to actually do the full attack animation before you get thrown off somewhere. And they're getting bombed out anyway, so it's not like they're really feeling too happy. Regardless, let's take a look at this Tomb King's build here up on the hilltop. We've got Flying Taco, Casket of Souls here, Sepulchral Stalkers, 2 Tomb Scorpions. We've got Skeleton Warriors, Skeleton Spears, and 2 Necrotechs. This is, if you're playing in a box like this, you really don't want to have any ranged units inside of this box because you're not going to be able to protect them. This is just going to degenerate into a giant blob fest. So, like, the only real ranged unit to protect here is the Casket of Souls, which, you know, it's a single entity artillery piece that can't, you know, have its crew get knocked off or anything like that. So it's not that hard to defend. But here comes Cetra. He's going to throw himself Incantation of Protection. He's also got the Blessed Blade active. Going to run through and just, you know, mass apply that debuff to a bunch of these units in the front line here as they fight skeletons. That will help the skeletons actually trade pretty decently there. The Halberds continuing to get kind of punched on here a little bit. Looks like we're going to have a nice Burning Head potentially in the front line, though. This is a one-way, or not a Burning Head, Penumbral Pendulum. Penumbral Pendulum, much faster spin-up time and much harder to dodge than Burning Head. Does a good amount of damage there. Those Chaos Marauders do get terrified, but here comes the Spawn. Spawn running straight in. They are fighting the Scorpion Legion, which is not the best, but looks like the Scorpion itself, pushing up and around this flank, can now come in collapse here as well. We've got Incantation of Desiccation. Massive Incantation of Desiccation going down, hitting a ton of these different units involved in this melee blob. That is such a massive debuff. Minus 40 melee attack and 24 melee defense. So that Overcast there just completely nerfing the melee attack of all of these Chaos troops. That is a brutal debuff to throw down right here. Chaos forces can't be happy about that whatsoever. The Sepulchral Stalkers also in the back line throwing some shots in here. That being said, this Sorcerer Lord and these 2 Manticores actually haven't cared that much, to be honest. And the Chaos Spawn are also punching nicely in here. They come down, they get some good damage in on Cetra. Chaos Spawn coming from behind, and more Marauders also advancing from this position as well. So Warriors of Chaos certainly not down and out yet. They do have some Chariots here also, and these Marauders can also work up around this flank, continue damaging some of these skeletons. So we'll see. It's interesting. I'm a little bit worried about these Kipper Guard here. There's not any Lore of Fire to help take them down, and they're trading very nicely into the Mirror Guard here with the Scorpion, of course, in support there. But I'm a little worried about Cetra. He comes down, gets a big hit on the Exalted Hero, and the Curse drops at a pretty opportune time. That is going to do some good damage there. Another nice Penumbral Pendulum, and the Sorcerer Lord comes around to get a hit on Cetra. Can the double Manticore actually finish off Mr. the Imperishable here from the sky? Looking pretty good for the Warriors of Chaos in that aspect, but obviously there are still these 2 Scorpions online as well. You know, you've got the Necrotechs to deal with, you've still got the Casket of Souls to deal with also. There's a lot of high-value targets still, and I'm concerned about the Chaos Infantry's ability to sustain here. I mean, they do have the Spawn here that can kind of help them hold their leadership together. He's got some more units coming back from route over here that can come through, but you see, this is bad here. This Exalted Hero gets caught in between multiple single entity models, the Necrotechs, Cetra, and the Tomb Scorpion all just ganging up, and now this again A pretty big mistake by Uncle Gant, I think, trying to dive on Cetra in this situation. He's got the Casket here. He's got the Sepulchral Stalkers here. The Scorpions are both in a position to get us around. And, oh man, that's a back-breaking Ushabti summon right there, right on top of these characters as well, just to add more massive high mass bodies to this disgusting blob fight here. Oh man, looks like the Exalted Hero might actually be able to escape, but did he rout? He's got about 1800 HP left. The Sorcerer Lord actually gets routed there, chased off by some Ushabti, getting chopped in the back, and I think that's pretty much game for Taco. Warriors of Chaos just getting flung everywhere. Even the spawn aren't safe from the just absolutely world-breaking animations of the Tomb Scorpion as it defies the laws of physics and game balance and literally throws monstrous infantry 30 feet into the air. Yeah, the spawns will eventually die to the Sepulchral Stalkers. They're really the only threat left here, but I like the build. He is able to finally finish off Cetra here with the Sorcerer and the Exalted Hero. You guys well know, or you should at least, I'm a huge fan of the Manticores. The Feral Manticores. The Exalted Heroes on the Manticores also very strong, but a little bit unfortunate there. Okay. Let's see how long we've been going. Just about 2 hours. Let me check my list here if we've gotten through everyone. I don't want to leave anyone out. It does look like we've pretty much got through everyone. So with this, Taco is going to be going to 3 wins. And I think we'll just call him the winner of this this stream here today. My voice is not doing too hot. I do want to keep streaming for you guys. But I'll be mute in like 3 hours probably if I keep this up. So, I don't know, maybe even like a half an hour I might lose my voice completely, but we're going to call it after this game. Taco, I mean, FPod came in, had a good run with 2 wins, but this will take Taco just ahead, and then we can call him a clear winner of this King of the Hill. And yep, Uncle Gant going to throw in the towel there. Yeah, Dutch Skink, unfortunately I'm going to need to take a break here. As you can hear from my voice, it's a little bit destroyed. But, yeah, if you guys go back and look through, you'll see we had quite a few good competitors today. FPod went on a good run, just destroyed me somehow with the balance of power on the first game. I still don't understand how that worked. I'm going to need to go rewatch that replay. And then made my day by killing a Tomb Scorpion very quickly with a Scar Veteran on a Carnosaur, right? Yep, let's say that's what it was. And then what was next? Then we had FPod got bumped by Undertaker. Undertaker got bumped by Taco, and then Taco went on his 3-0 run. So yes, well played. Well played, thank you. Thanks, Wicked. Yeah, up to 180 there at the end. I do really want to keep streaming, guys, but my voice just won't. I will be sad, and I do need to do some recording for some videos over the next couple days, so I can't completely just destroy it right now. So yeah, thanks. Right, gotta love that silly Scorpion action. Let's just go back and highlight real quick. I'm gonna break the fourth wall a little bit, but we're gonna get an instant replay here. Let me figure out how I can do this. Just a second. Thanks everyone to the competitors again. You guys are the ones who make this awesome, give us the great battles. So big thanks to all the players, and let's go in and get an instant replay, if I can, of the play of the game. In my opinion here, that I did. Yes. Okay. Da-da-da. There we go. Let's just break all of the things real quick. So if we come back over here into my YouTube stream preview, and we come back, here it is, right on the money. So play of the game for sure goes to FPod for this right here. The Sora Scarvet, up to what, like 800 something weapon strength there, just absolutely kills that Tomb Scorpion. So one more time, let's take a look. F-Pod coming in. Again, the Sword Scarvet, low on health. He's got Deadly Onslaught, Potion of Strength, Cold-Blooded to keep his leadership there. Gets some really good hits. Mazda Mundi throws the Harmonic Convergence because, you know, we just really hate Scorpions that much. 832 weapon strength with all of the attack and defense, and that Scorpion just gets absolutely deleted. It's so good. It's so good. Thanks again, F-Pod. That made my day completely. And thank you all for being here. It's been a great stream. Had a ton of fun today, so good luck. Happy New Year to all of you. Best of luck with your own endeavors this year. You all are amazing and deserve the best, so thank you again. And we'll see you on the next one. Be sure to catch me this weekend for some more Rapun's campaign. We're going to have South Sea Qualifier number 4. That will set us up for the final in the next coming weeks. Not sure exactly when that's going to be, but thanks again. We'll see you guys next time. And yeah, bye-bye now.